Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my Game of Thrones Legends mobile game content. So today, folks, we got punched in the face with a lot of information and it was hard to kind of swallow it all because they gave us a patch notes release information that was about 5 miles long, and then they gave us a dev diary discussion about all those changes that I'm not gonna lie, took me about an hour to read. So yeah, that hit us in the face. And then because of my relationship with the digital Gandalf, the electronic boogaloo wizard, he has found some stuff that we just can't resist. We just cannot resist bringing this to you because this is information that you need to help you be able to plan your account out better. And there is a new event. They have said it themselves in their patch notes release. They said March the 6th there was a new event coming with new heroes. That's exactly how they put it, and that basically lets us know that the time is right to release this information to you that we've been holding on to. We've been waiting for just the right time to release it, and we feel like now it's right with the fact that they've announced it themselves that there was going to be a new event and new heroes released. If you'll remember right, about 3 to 4 weeks ago, I put out a video about some leaked character images and some skills that we had found, and these all tie together to kind of talk about the new event that we're going to be seeing soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into that, and I'm going to throw a lot at you here really quick, and I don't really know how to explain it all because there is so much about this that is still kind of up in the air. We don't really know 100% yet. So like always, when I bring you these leak style videos from my boy that I partner with, I need to remind you that all this information is not 100% at the time that I bring it to you. It's never 100% until it's actually been released in a patch or an update and you download it onto your device and it adds it into your game. That's when it's 100%. All we can do right now is tell you what's in the game files and what they are working on, and that's as good as we can go. We can't predict when it's going to be released. We can't predict if it's going to be released. It could all be pulled at the last second or changed dramatically from the stages that we see it at in the files now. So just keep that in mind. That's the preface that I need to put on this so that you understand what I'm showing you. We don't have any quantifiers on at this moment other than it's in there. That's all we know. So with no further ado, let's jump in and let's talk about the new event, and it's going to be called Robb's War. So one of the things you need to understand is that it appears that Robb's War, which is the name of what we think to be the new event that's coming soon, will be on a partial release schedule like they do with a lot of other content. They're going to be testing it with some people and then releasing it to all. They did in the patch notes say that it would be released on March the 6th to everybody, but from what we have seen in the digging that we've been doing is that it will pre-release on the 27th to a select group of people to test it. So some will have it on the 27th, but all will have it on the 6th of March, right here. That's when they said in the patch notes that it would be released. And it is, as of this time, we think it's going to be called Robb's War. It's going to be a 16 battle type scenario from what we can see so far. And it's going to have what appears to be an ice and bleed type thing going on, to where when you ice and blood match a young wolf gem before it reaches 0, to afflict the enemy, it damages with 1 ice and 1 bleed. And this is what I'm thinking is the image of the young wolf gem, this right here. So that's what I think in its current state it's going to look like on the board. When you match a young wolf gem before it reaches 0 to afflict the enemy, it damages with 1 ice and 1 bleed. The countdown is any young wolf gem which reach 0 will deal 30% attack physical damage and remove 1 buff from your allies. So the ice and bleed, and it's going to be buff application, removal of buffs based on how you play the mechanics, and that's during the countdown phase. Then during the frenzy, your enemies are in a frenzy, which causes their stamina to increase twice as quickly. So yeah, that's going to be crazy, because the enemies are going to start charging theirself up twice as fast as they would have normally. So it definitely looks like during the event that it ramps up quickly, and that may be a situation to where bleed becomes even more ugly than it ever has been, especially when the power of your enemies ramps up twice as fast. And if they're throwing ice on you and then they're also putting bleed on you, you might find your team dead based on the damage you're doing before you even have a chance to finish the enemy team off in the event. So this is going to be really interesting to see how it's going to work out. It also says that a noble guest lady, Julie, has joined Robb's army. She will amplify the effects of ice and bleed on the enemies. So it sounds like you are going to be putting ice on and bleed on the enemies. They're going to be doing some attack physical damage and scaling up their charging of their stamina. So it's going to be kind of a fast and furious type of thing. It sounds like speed sounds like it's going to be the key in this event as well, because you need to take care of those enemies before they slaughter you. Okay, so next we have the reveal of what some of the rewards are going to be for the event. You're going to get rewards for Robb, Talisa, John, and Arya. Those are going to be the rewards that you get from playing the event. So like during the other events that we do and they return hero shards, this is going to be the ones that you get. Okay, so of course you see that list of the rewards and you say, wait a minute, Mirandus, Robb and Talisa aren't even in the game, so how can they be rewards? Well, here we go. If you remember that video that I put out about 4 weeks ago, you remember those leaked images and those leaked skills that I brought to you about Robb and Talisa were 2 of the 4 that I talked about. They are going to be in this event as rewards, so therefore we can surmise that they will be in the game and will be released. Okay, so I've kind of got my little infographics out of order here. I'm going to skip on down to where I've already made that comment, and this right here looks to be that person that they said was added in to join your team. This is Robb, and this is Talisa, and then this is, what did they say her name was? Julie? A noble guest lady, Julie, has joined Robb's army. She will amplify the effects of ice and bleed. So she's obviously part of the event story, and that's Julie right there, I'm guessing. And then this is the ice and bleed icons that we'll be seeing in the event, and obviously this is hers. You can see the little axe, and this is in the axe in the graphic, and she buffs them. You see the little arrow making it more potent. She does this, so that's kind of what that's about. So, but here we go. You said, how can they be rewards when they're not even in the game? Well, guess what? Here you go. Robb Stark will be added to the game as one of the heroes in the event, and also so that we can summon them, I'm sure, because why would they give rewards for a hero that we can't summon them? So they'll more than likely have a summon event tied around this event to go live, like they do with the Battle of the Bastards, like they do with the Egg event, to where you can summon these heroes during the event, then use your rewards that you get to level up their stars. So you can see that Robb is definitely going to be a red. He's definitely going to be a Stark. We knew he was going to be a strategist because we talked about that before. And then also, like I showed you in that video about 4 weeks ago, you see that he has a partner synergy with Talisa, the woman that he in the show did find and fall in love with and marry right before the Red Wedding. So that is their synergy together. And if you remember, there was the image of that little wolf with the bandages wrapped around it, the young wolf with the healer, and that was the whole thing of those two together. So there's Robb. He's going to be added. A lot of you have been asking for Robb Stark. He's one of the most requested heroes to be added to the game, and the fact that he's a red, oh, really good, really good. The Stark lineup needs a solid red so bad. It has Theon, yes, I get it, but Theon is so hard to use early game that Robb is going to be really good, I feel. So let's look at his skills just a little bit. And I'm just looking at this for, you know, in its final form right here for the first time today as well. We got this update in the files today, and we've seen the information before, but we hadn't never seen it put into the format that it will be shown in game to you. So now we can put 2 and 2 together with the graphics that we said we thought went to this skill or that skill. Now we know for sure. So this one right here is his skill. It's called Take His Power. It's a stamina speed slow. Okay, so it is kind of on the slow side to charge up, but it is a damage dealer. It adds a buff and it removes a buff. So it does multiple different things. Robb strikes an enemy for 300% attack physical damage. That's a lot, okay? I don't know. This is at level 1 too, so will this be changed before it gets released in game? It's possible, but that's an insane amount of damage. So at level 1, just imagine what that's going to be by the time that gets 8, 9, 10. I don't even know, but it's going to make him pretty potent. 300% attack physical damage. That enemy loses 15% stamina. And if they are brittle, they have a 100% chance to be stunned for 2 turns. Could this possibly be the reason why they nerfed the Northern Brawler? Could this possibly be the reason why they slowed the Northern Brawler skill down? Because they knew that Robb was going to step into that gap and be a stunner. He's going to be a stunner. He's going to be awesome. That's going to be amazing. If they are brittle, if you're going to be using Robb, you're going to be using him in the Stark lineup. So obviously they're going to have the brittle mechanic going on. When they're brittle, he strikes an enemy. They lose 15% stamina on top of the already slowed down stamina regeneration they have by facing the Stark faction. Then they have a 100% chance. It's not a if and maybe type situation. It will happen to be stunned for 2 turns. That's going to be good. That's going to be really good. I'm calling it right now. That's going to be really good. His other issues, his traits: brave in the face of fear, that is his leader ability. When a brittle enemy gains a buff, all allied Starks gain 15% defense and tenacity for 3 turns, plus 5% attack. So I'm going to have to really look at that and see if the possibility of him being a leader versus Ned being the leader of that team, which one's better? I don't know yet, but I'm going to have to look at that because a full Stark complement team now has a couple of different options as far as who could possibly be the better leader. I still think that I'm probably going to land on Ned as the leader ability, but this has potential. I'm just going to have to look and see how tenacity works into that combination, and does that make it better or worse? Not sure. Then his passive, Not Your Way. Anytime an enemy uses their skill, Robb afflicts them with 1 ice. Okay, so that means that anytime an enemy charges up a skill and uses it, boom, they get an ice. That's pretty good. So I'm just going to say this team is really going to be loading up the ice with Robb in there. If the enemy is brittle at level 2, Robb gains 15% stamina, so he gets more stamina at level 2. At 6 stars, his level 3 stamina gain increases to 25%. So at 6 stars, when you get this ability up to level 3, his stamina gain increases to 25%. He puts ice on them anytime they use the skill. Looks pretty good, folks, I'm just going to say. Now let's do the reveal on Talisa. Talisa Stark. She is a legendary as well, and she is a yellow. So that was something that I was curious about. I didn't know really. I mean, we did kind of know because we knew the coloration of her skill blocks led us to believe that she was going to be a yellow. And we did know that because of the synergy between these two, she had a partner gem ally bonus with Robb. We knew she was a mender because pretty much her skills sounded like healing type skills, and that goes along with the image that they portrayed her with in the show as a battlefield healer. So we kind of knew all this stuff. We pieced it all together, but now we actually get to see her and see how she's going to shake out as far as the images that are portrayed. You know, in the background you can kind of see the battlefield looking type situation, and she looks resolute, like she's there to do a job, is what I'm seeing. So let's look at her skills now. The first one, her main skill, is Cut Out the Rot. Talisa's strongest ally has a 75% chance to taunt the enemy for 3 turns. She then heals a target ally for 15% max of her hit points and removes all damage over time effects from them. So this is a situation where she could be useful in certain situations. Like if there's a lot of blades applied, possibly, which is kind of like Robb's War sounds like. She might be a really strong choice, kind of like a Godswood Defender type thing where she removes all damage over time effects from them. So if the damage over time effects stack up on your characters during that event, it's possible that she could be very useful. She's a fast, and she heals, and she removes debuffs, but she charges up quick. So as a yellow, she will be charging very fast. Talisa's strongest ally has a 75% chance to taunt. So let's say you have Ned in that party, and Ned is the strongest one in your party. I don't know if that's based on attack power or hit point total or what, but imagine Ned taunting the whole battle. Because, I mean, if you put this skill on him, he taunts for 3 turns, then he turns around and taunts for 6 or 7 more turns because of his other skill. Now Ned's basically telling you you cannot hit anyone but him. And that could be brutal, especially if you're like me and you have a 7-star Ned that you're working on leveling up right now. I'm going to throw that Ned in your face, and I'm going to dare you to hit anybody else but Ned. And I'm going to put all the gear I can put on him to make him the biggest tank that you've ever seen. And Abrams sitting there right in the middle, pointing his cannon at you with his big, long, pointy sword, daring you to hit anybody but him. That could be good. We'll see. We'll have to see it in practice, but on paper it sounds good. Then let's talk about her traits and her passive. I am his and he is mine. That is her leadership ability. So she has the capability to have a leadership role as well. When she uses her skill, now remember, she is a fast charge right here. So her skill is a fast charge. So that means it could go off 3, 4, 5 times a battle, depending on how long and strong the enemy is, so that they might keep you there for a little bit. Then when Talisa uses her skill, she grants all allies plus 50% tenacity for 3 turns, plus 5% defense. Okay, so this is key right here, the tenacity. We need to look at tenacity and kind of try to understand how tenacity works with this Stark faction, because so many things are revolving around this now that it makes it really critical to understand that. When Talisa uses her skill, which could go off 3, 4, 5 times a battle at a fast charge rate, she grants all allies plus 50% tenacity for 3 turns. So everybody has it for 3 turns. If you can charge her up at the beginning shot of the battle, first turn or 2, then she puts her skill down, boom, now everybody has this tenacity buff for 3 turns and defense bonus. Then when she gets 5 stars or better, she levels it up to level 2. When a Stark ally uses her skill, Talisa gains plus 10% stamina and plus 5% defense. So now she's charging up even faster. So yeah, that could be interesting, to say the least. Her passive, Don't Get Greedy. Anytime an enemy uses their skill, Talisa affects that enemy with 1 ice. Okay, so now let's say we have her and Robb in the party together. Anytime an enemy uses their skill, they get 2 ice. Boom, boom. 1 from Robb, 1 from her. That's pretty good, especially with the changes they've made to the ice mechanic in the update notes, the patch notes that I just got through going over. That could be really good, and especially if you're consistently applying it every single time they do their skill. Boom, 1 from Robb, boom, 1 from Talisa. Now you've got a 40% increase in damage or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to look at how they've changed the ice mechanic, but I'm just saying, wow. At a level 2 at 4 stars, if the enemy is brittle, Talisa heals her leader for 5% max hit points. So if she is not the leader, then she heals that person. If she is the leader, then possibly she heals herself. And then at 6 stars, the level 3 version, the heal is increased to 10%. So not only does she apply ice every time they use their skill, and if they're brittle, which they more than likely will be because the ice application is going through the roof, she heals her leader for 5% of her max hit points. Let's look at her hit points at level 1. At level 1, she has 6.3k hit points. That's pretty respectable to start with. Hang on. Oh, sorry, had to get a drink. That's pretty respectable to start with. So her heal will be pretty good. Let's look at Robb's. He has 6.7. So she's not too far behind Robb at a starting level of hit points. So her heal has the ability to be pretty good. 5% for max of her max. So get her up to level 200 or so. You know, she's got thousands of hit points. That could be a pretty substantial heal. So that's the end of the information that I have for you. That is the breakthrough that we're ready to reveal on the Robb's War event. And I forgot I had these infographics right here in the middle. Let's look at those real quick. These are kind of like the little tutorials that you get when you start to play the game. I don't really know how to explain this to you other than it looks like when you match your wolf gem, you see an increase to bleed and ice. I'm not really sure. Going through different variations of leveling it up or matching them or something. it causes your enemies or your party to take a hit. I don't know if this is reminiscent of your party taking this attack or if this is the enemy team that you're facing. I kind of think that this is representative of the enemy team you're facing, and you're doing this to them by matching these young wolf gems, because that just kind of seems like what you should be doing as Robb and Talisa and Julie adds that effect to increasing the damage that you're doing to your enemy team. Nobody would go into this event with this kind of a team, so I kind of think it's all over the place, you know, Brotherhood, the Free Cities of Starks. I mean, it's just all over the place. So I don't think that I don't think that's indicative of a player's team. I think that's the enemy team that you face. And then it looks like the enemies get to increase the damage against you based on what you've done, possibly, or based on what their skills are that they use. This is more than likely the increased stamina regeneration that they were talking about when they said that the enemies will regenerate their stamina twice as fast, times 2. That's what this is, and it's going up. So that means their progress bars are filling up faster and they get to attack faster. So be on the lookout for that. And then here is Julie. She is increasing your ice and bleed that you're afflicting the enemies with by whatever mechanic it is that she's doing to help you out. So that's really cool with Robb and Talisa standing in the background saying, I approve of your damage. Yes. So that's Robb's War. It's really exciting. This will be happening starting the 27th of February. Some will have it, and then all will have it on March the 6th unless they decide to delay or whatever. Just keep in mind that that can happen. They did say in their patch notes today that it would be coming March 6th, so that looks like that's what they're planning on sticking with, but they need to have some little testing phase where they let a small segment of the player base try it out first, and that's par for the course from what we've seen from them. So this is just the method that they use to test their content, and it's just what it is. So yeah, that's what we got going on. So I just wanted to thank my bro for passing this information on to us. We really appreciate his efforts in that regard. He digs through those files and he does some wizardry that I don't even know what he's doing. I just know that he's amazing, and he gives us these juicy little tidbits that we make these videos on, and we truly appreciate it because we need to have some foreknowledge to be able to help us plan our accounts out. So save your tokens, folks, from now until Robb's War releases, and hopefully you'll have a good enough stash to be able to pull you some sweet, sweet Robb and some sweet, sweet Talisa. And we'll see how that works out. But I know everybody's going to be thrilled about this. Robb Stark. So many people have been hollering for him, but he's here now. Coming soon. Thanks for watching this content. I appreciate you. As always, be sure to check the description of my video for a link to my Discord where we talk about this kind of stuff and we share this information with you and we discuss it, answer questions for you based on what we know and what we see. Just remember that all this stuff is subjective. We don't know 100% whether it will be in game or not until it's actually released. But our community is thriving and we have a very active Discord where we'd love to hash this out with you and say, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be good? Do you think it's going to be bad? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. So alright, so I'll see you soon in another video about Game of Thrones Legends coming soon. Talk to you later. Peace!